Hello, YouTube. Today we're discussing purchasing or building a custom home with wheelchair accessibility in mind. Before we embarked on doing this, we did a lot of research and had a hard time finding suggestions. We found plenty of videos of people walking through their homes and what they had done to make them accessible, but not a lot of people offering advice and suggestions on what things to be considered when building a home or designing a home with wheelchair accessibility in mind. So what we did, we reviewed several of our builders in our area. Most of our builders are standard builders. They build a floor plan that they have designed. They have homes on inventory, or they will build a custom home for you. However, that custom home is customized in the sense that they will put in what type of flooring they want, or what type of flooring you want, or the color cabinetry you want. But if you need a wall moved, most of these builders would not do that.
Correct.
We ended up using what's called a semi-custom builder, where they still have their own design and floor plans, but they will customize those to meet your needs. And I would definitely recommend going down this path if you have accessibility needs.
True. So, like you say, a lot of the builders, what he's referring to, they will let you pick your finishes as far as the carpet, tile, wall paint, lighting, things like that, but not doing any construction involved. So, working with this semi custom builder that we worked with, we were able to customize our doorways, that all of our doorways in our house are 36-inch wide. That makes it so much more easier to get in and out of each doorway in our home if you're in a wheelchair, because a lot of wheelchairs are not compact, so it's much easier to get through.
A standard doorway that most homes are built with here in Florida, at least, is 32 inches. Um,
Correct.
what we've gone with are 3-foot doors or 36-inch doors. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we will put a couple pictures here of Mindy's wheelchair going through both a 32-inch opening and a 36-inch opening, and I think it'll be pretty clear why you would want this.
Correct. But it was just an optional preference for us, which you might take into consideration as well. We went with all tile throughout our house instead of carpeted bedrooms and whatnot. Because when you're in a wheelchair, you track in a lot of dirt, especially on those rainy days down here in Florida. All that unwanted dirt goes into that carpet, and over time, the carpet wears down because of the weight of the chairs. Because some of these chairs are heavy, so all that dirt is going into the carpet. And we also have two autistic kids that are here as well, and they're very messy at times. So having the tile throughout, including all of the bedroom, it makes it very easy to clean up.
Right, we just used some area carpets in the areas where you didn't want the cold tile on your feet.
Right, like in
But
our living room.
But like you touched on too, the weight of these power wheelchairs, like what you use, are multiple hundreds of pounds.
Correct.
Every time we've used these on a carpeted room, within 6 months, the carpet and the padding underneath the carpet starts to buckle up into these ripples and waves.
Yeah,
Um,
you can see where it
it's,
gets worn down in those high traffic areas.
it's very noticeable,
Yeah,
and 6 months is maybe generous on that. They just don't last with carpeting.
right. And just think about all the dirt in the carpet.
Right.
So if you have allergies or something like that, all flooring throughout is the way to go. Tile,
Or hardwood or
hard,
laminate.
yeah,
Any hard surface is the
correct.
direction you probably want to go.
Yeah,
Another big thing that we did was customizing the master bath and shower for you.
yeah,
Um, Again, standard builder grade is just a fiberglass tub and a fiberglass shower pan, which
right.
you can't roll into. One, because it's a step up, and two, because the weight of your chair would crack any of that fiberglass.
Right.
So we had a custom roll-in shower designed by them, and we'll include some pictures of that here in the footage for
Yeah.
you.
I have one end of my shower and he has his end of the shower.
Right, that definitely is
Yeah.
something to consider and highly recommended.
Yeah.
it's made our life a lot easier. Some other more minor things that you've done. We had the walkway in front of our house widened from a 3-foot walkway to a 4-foot walkway.
Right,
Again, you had about 2 or 3 inches on either side of your chair, the way it was at 3 foot. But it was often hard to maneuver, especially if you had anything else in your hands or going on.
right. So instead of doing the basic sidewalk that goes straight and then turns 90 degrees, this one curves as you get to that part where you round to get to the front door. So it definitely makes it easier to move. And that's another thing that you should keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. Some other things, we also put walkways in out back for you to be able to access the backyard. And we put in a wheelchair accessible pool. So if you guys are interested in seeing a video about building that pool and about the design of that pool and how you use that pool, leave us a comment below. Let us know that that's
Please.
something you'd be interested in.
Yeah. The other thing we did was in the laundry room at the model home. There, when you open the door to go into the laundry room, the washer and dryer were on your left. So being a wheelchair user who does laundry for the family, that was not easily accessible for me. So I had them rotate it to the wall. So as soon as you come in, you're looking straight at it. And I have
You can come in
front
straight
loaders.
so that the doors don't get in your way. Right.
Right. And we have front loaders, which makes it a lot easier because the front loaders, you just reach in and move it from the washer to the dryer. He used to have a
Top
top
loaders.
loader, and that's hard being in a wheelchair, having to reach down in there to get it. And, I had bruises all on my arms. So front loaders definitely makes it easier.
Right. Along those lines, whoever is the wheelchair user in your family, you want to consider what appliances they might be using as well when you're laying out the design for this.
Yeah.
If they're going to be using the microwave, can they safely get into the microwave? Would you be better off with something like a drawer-based microwave in one of your lower cabinets? Can they access a stove? Can they access the refrigerator? Those kind of things.
Right. One of the things that I regret not doing in our build is doing a microwave drawer cabinet like he was talking about. So I've actually been in touch with our cabinet people that we had with this house, and it's something that we're going to do in the near future so that way it makes it easier for me and not having to rely on someone else to do something in the microwave for me.
Right. Other minor things to consider, the height of light switches, are those going to be accessible for the person using them?
Right, now that you mentioned that, that was a problem that we ran into when we did the walkthrough of our house. The garage opener, to open the garage for me, it was up too high, I couldn't reach it. So they had to make that lower for me to be able to reach it. And they did, and it wasn't a problem. So it makes it much easier.
Right. What else did we do? Well, something else I did want to touch on was just the furniture placement in the home. A lot of times when we visit other people's homes, they without realizing have locked you in or out of particular rooms just because a
Correct.
wide enough path has not been provided for you.
Correct.
So 3 foot at a bare minimum. A lot of times a corner of a couch and a table will just be slightly too small for you to get through. And unless you move that furniture, you just can't get from one room to another.
So another thing we did was we ended up doing French doors out back instead of your typical slider that most of your builders will do. We were trying to figure out how to get that door to lock because we have 2 autistic kids in our home. So we have to be mindful of how to keep all exterior doors locked. So that was one of the things that we kept going back and forth on. And a lot of times with the sliders, you have that track. So trying to go over that in a wheelchair, it's not easy. And a lot of these wheelchairs are heavy.
Right.
So over time, that's going to wear down and break down. So we ended up opting for the French doors, which was it's a lot prettier looking out back with French doors, easier to get out back, and easier to keep locked to keep the kids in.
I definitely think that was a good change and a
Yeah,
good suggestion to look at that. And yes, the weight of these chairs going across those tracks down there on the bottom will oftentimes bend the rails that are in those tracks, causing your door not to work pretty quickly.
right.
Something else that we did in our kitchen, we spaced the island out. One, to give me more access when we're at places like the stove and for you to be able to access the sink. But also, the other side of the island, we made the cabinets depth shorter so that you would have a bigger overhang where you could get up underneath the overhang.
Right. For most people that are not in a wheelchair, sitting on an island and a bar stool um, is not an issue. But when you're talking about being in a wheelchair and you pull up to the island, you don't have enough overhang. So because you have the leg rest in front of you, you just can't get close enough. So yes, that's what we did. We ended up doing the shorter cabinet to allow for that 6 extra inches to be able to pull up and be comfortable at the island along with everybody else.
Right, right. Well, I think that's the main issues that we did. There's a
Yeah,
lot of other little customizations we did. We also did a lot of customizations with the autism in mind. If you guys are interested in seeing a video about that, leave us a comment as well.
yes. On a side note, and this can be done in any home that you're in, we had all of the higher toilets put in our house in the bathroom to make it easier for someone that is in a wheelchair to be able to transfer back and forth, or just anybody that might be having a harder time getting up and down. The
Right,
higher toilets are easier. Yeah,
right.
but you can easily do that in your current home because you just go down to your local hardware store and get them something that you can easily have done.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to put some pictures and a quick walkthrough of the home up here for you.
Yeah,
If you have any questions, please leave us a comment below. Like and subscribe. Thank
thank
you.
you.